Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and another update for the Chessie System Sub 1 build in N-Scale. Thanks very much for everybody that's subscribed and tuned in. Excited to share the progress. Obviously this video starts off with a caveat. Sorry about not being more regular with content, just obviously summer months it's not as frequent that I get some time down here. I'm sure all of you are the same. The weather's been great. We've been out doing a lot of stuff on the farm. As well as doing a little bit of traveling up north and things like that. So very pleased to have an update for you today. Made some great progress. Finally got a day down here on the layout, which is fantastic. Forgive the crickets. It's that time of year. I've been inundated with crickets on the farm. I have a 120-year-old farmhouse, and unfortunately they find their way in. So a little bit of background noise for the layout, free of charge, no sound system required. So anyways, got a lot of progress today. Worked on the Blenheim Yard, finalizing that track plan, setting track in place, gluing it down, running feeder wires, doing the wiring, hooking it up, testing. Got a little bit of power on there now just to run a loop, show you guys, take you through what's going on. I like to try to switch up the kind of power that we have on the layout, every time we do a video. So today will be a lash up of some Jeep 7s, Toronto, Hamilton, Buffalo, with a little Jeep 20 from New York Central tucked in there for good measure. I know it's not Chessie, but I'm still waiting to get some shells and to pull my Chessie collection together. So I've got a lot of power that is going to do dual purpose. So I'll be popping some shells. So I'm looking for shells right now. Again, my dad's been kind enough to gift me quite a lot of power, which has been awesome. Did a little Facebook Live video maybe last week for Anthony. So Anthony, if you want to check it out, there was some CSX power on the layout. Had it all done up for you, ready to go. So you can go over to the Facebook group and take a look at that. But for today's video, it's Toronto, Hamilton, Buffalo with some New York Central for good measure. And we'll take you over to the layout and show you what we've done. I'm to the stage now where I'm happy with the track. Obviously testing wiring, I'm fairly confident. I have two industry spurs that I need to finish track work for, and those are on the the sort of loop side of the track, not the Blenheim Yard. So when I take you over, you'll see Blenheim Yard is now as I'm going to leave it. I'm content with it. I'm happy. I've got some great switching options for some operations. I've got a number of industries and stub tracks. Obviously I'm a little limited on the yard, so I'm going to use the arrival departure track to sort of build the trains, because I need that length, because the yard just isn't quite big enough. But into everyone's life a little rain must fall. I'm just happy to be able to run some trains. So it's a happy median you got to meet. Sometimes space, you just don't have the space to do what you want, so you got to make the best out of it. Hopefully this layout is going to end up out in the shop at some point. When we get a shop built, we'd like to expand it, do the upstairs as sort of a train room, hobby room for me. And if that's the case, then this layout will come up out of the basement and go up into there, I would imagine. Unless I decide to pull something entirely stupid and switch to HO. But I don't believe that's going to be the case. So we'll wait and see. Lots of options depending on the space, how much room we have. Could have one heck of a N-scale empire. I would really like to at some point incorporate Chatham into the mix. So have a layout that represents sort of the Blenheim portion to sub 1, and then tying in with sub 2 up to Chatham, and then of course onwards to Sarnia. So Chatham gives some really excellent options for sort of expansion and railroading, simply because you've got the CN and the CP interchange there, that allows for a little bit of variety. And then obviously, being able to incorporate Fargo properly for the Canada Southern, that's where you're going to get some really cool power. The Conrail, the New York Central, Penn Central, like whatever you want to think about. There is a whole host of different railways running on those lines in the day, so lots of options there. Really hoping to had a great time with Tim Swadling and the gentleman that was actually gifted me a lot of this stuff. We met up not too long ago. Had a nice barbecue on the back deck just to talk history and railroads, and specifically, you know, Sub 1 and the CNO, or CNO slash Chessie. So I'd be interested to know if the viewers are looking for. I would love to put together some sort of historical background on the tracks, just for people who don't know. Of course, I'm going to lean pretty heavy on some help from other people for that, because I'm not an expert by any means. But I think it's important to share the history of the line. You know, all these railways getting pulled up, and not too many people, you know, putting their hand up saying, "Hey, let's preserve the history, or at least tell the story of what it was and how it came to be, and how important it really was to Canada and building this part of the world." So, you know, to that measure, that's sort of why we do what we do, right? We take a little snapshot in time, and you know, it helps to preserve history and gives us our own little our own little time machine to go back and enjoy the things that we can't necessarily enjoy today. So, cheers to that. Happy hobbying. Today's beverage of choice is a nice rye and water. It's important to stay hydrated when you hobby. Very important, very important. So that's today's safety tip from the Sub 1 build, is stay hydrated. But enough rambling for me. Anything else to update you on? Dad's been a boss, just finding stuff, finding Chesapeake and Ohio, rolling stock and things of that nature for the layout. So really pumped about that. I went from, you know, having a few cars, you know, and sort of lining those up to weather them, to wham, I've got an entire layout worth of cars that still need to be weathered. So that'll be sort of next steps. I'm hoping now that the weather is going to start to turn, a little more time down here, a little more time, you know, weathering cars, working on the layout, you know, little bits and pieces here. My goal going forward is to try to make sure that I get, like, I want to try to get at least 15, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour a day down here doing something, whether it's weathering a car, doing some track work, running trains, whatever the case is, but doing something hobby related. And that's just so that, you know, you try to keep motivated, stay into it, and go forward. You know, the summer taught me it was really easy to lose sight of what's going on down here, just because you're busy doing other things. And you know, sometimes those things can't, you know, you can't shelve them. You have to go do them. But there's other things that, you know, you didn't necessarily need to be doing. You could be down here doing it instead. So it's just striking that hobby life balance, I guess, would be the best way to put it. So going forward, I want to try to be better at spending some more time. I want to make some serious progress. Now that the track work and everything is nailed down, other than those two industrial spurs, I can start looking at, you know, sort of shaping the topography of the area. So using some sculpt mold and some other techniques that I'll be able to add some variation to the landmass. Obviously, for those of you who are familiar with the Blenheim area, it's pretty flat until you hit the ridge. So there's not a whole lot of topography to capture, but I don't want just a flat sheet of foam. So I definitely want to give some undulations and things of that nature, just to bring the scenes to life. So that'll be sort of next steps. I'm kind of back to the drawing board on my backdrop, only because the foam in one spot over by the Diamond and at the Fargo Exchange, it's going to be a little tight. I'm going to have to trim the track. I can't trim the track back any farther at the Fargo section because of the Diamond. I just can't. It's all molded one piece. There's no cutting it. So back to the drawing board on that. No big deal. Got to find something a little thinner profile than the 1/2 inch foam. It will work on the other side, sort of in behind Blenheim Yard, which is fine. And then I got to, basically pull the trigger on which product I'm going to use for that backdrop. Right now I am leaning towards the trackside scenery. He does an awesome job, seamless. They look terrific, and there's a couple there that are sort of taking my fancy that fit sort of my area. So anyways, that's enough of me rambling. This has just been a quick update. I'm going to get you up over to the layout so you can have a look and see what the progress is, and we'll close out the video there. Okay guys, so here we are. This is my interpretation of Blenheim. So again, as always, Warwick's. This is going to be the engine house / machine shop, and then this is going to be the just sort of the dry dock for the box cars. Come on through. Everything's secured. All I used no more nails or liquid nails, whatever you want to call it. Very light application. Does a fantastic job. Wired in lots of feeders today. Everywhere's got feeders. Don't want wiring issues. This building is not staying here. It's just there for fun. A couple more stubs in the back. One is going to be basically, one's a coal dock, and the other one is going to represent sort of king grain. You know, it should technically be on the other side of the road. This road crossing is going to move, so ignore that. It's going to be back over here. Oh, let's get some power running. So that is today's power. Pulling a nice little train. Chugging along. So this is one of the two industry spurs I need to finish. So this fellow over here, don't know how far back I'm going to go with it, and then this individual here. So very happy with the yard, very content, very happy with how smoothly it runs. Running trains through it and on it. Didn't have any derailments. I don't have any glitches in the power. I think I've put in enough feeders, so I'm very happy with that. You know, obviously now it's time to paint, just like the rest of the track, and then it's sort of on to next steps. So this is what I'm talking about. Obviously, with the topography, don't want just flat blue foam, so we're gonna get in there with a few different methods. Coming on over here, this is where I can't trim back anymore because of the diamond, so I got to come up with another solution for something that's going to be tighter to that wall. So any suggestions, feel free to drop them, but this will be backdrop here on foam, and then I was simply going to trim back those rails slightly, and this was all going to be foam with the backdrop. So that's the update where we stand now. Again, the fascia, I've got some final touches on the wiring. I want to build a sort of a control station, but that's all later on down the road once this is all finalized. So here they are coming into Blenheim Yard. So I'm pretty happy with how that came out, especially given that, you know, as a reminder for those of you who may have joined the channel later on, this is my first attempt at building a model railroad. My dad's done it for a number of years, and I've sort of watched growing up his handiwork and workmanship, so hopefully some of it's rubbed off, but pretty happy with how everything's running and looking. They got smooth lines, nice transitions, and everything runs great, which for me is the most important part, because I want to be able to it's basically a big switching layout. That's all I want to do with it, is, you know, service those spurs on the two sides, come in here, work Warwicks, and the other industries down there. So it's basically building trains, getting them onto the arrival departure track, and then having the local come and pick them up. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to do. So hope you guys have enjoyed the update. Please look for more content on a more regular basis going forward, now that the weather's going to change. Excited to get some progress, and excited for you guys to follow along. So thanks very much for stopping by, and happy hobbying, guys. Take care.